Alright, and here on our news it says UK Treasury gives Ripple or XRP a special mention, and here's the latest. Now, imagine a world where the entire backbone of a global financial superpower shifts away from outdated, slow systems and onto real, live, distributed ledger technology. Well, we don't have to imagine it anymore because it is happening right now in the United Kingdom. The UK Treasury has just thrown a massive shockwave through the financial markets by explicitly giving Ripple a special mention in a major new government-backed report. This isn't about speculative retail hype, and this isn't another minor temporary trial program. We are looking at a master plan to transition the UK's wholesale financial markets into live, practical deployment. So, as a long-time market observer, I've watched endless pilot projects go nowhere. But this latest development signals a complete shift in reality. The global race for digital asset infrastructure dominance is moving fast, and the UK might have just taken the lead. So let's dive straight into exactly what the government is building. So let's start with our very first question about why did the UK Treasury single out Ripple? The newly highlighted government document outlines the new stage of distribution of distributed ledger technology adoption, moving past the testing phases directly into live market infrastructure. According to insights shared on X by prominent crypto researcher right here, Bank XRP, the UK Treasury has identified Ripple as a central model within the ecosystem for wholesale tokenization. The report specifically focuses on real-world utility, highlighting how the market is maturing to use this technology for collateral management, tokenized bonds, stablecoins, and international payments. Rather than just talking about hypothetical ideas, the UK government is studying real financial frameworks. The report highlights Santander UK's integration of Ripple's blockchain infrastructure for cross-border payments, alongside Ripple's massive $1.25 billion acquisition of multi-asset prime broker Hidden Road. Now, here's my opinion. Seeing a sovereign entity like the UK Treasury officially spotlighting Ripple's operational footprint is a massive validation of enterprise utility. For years, critics claimed these networks were just experimental projects. But by citing Santander UK and Hidden Road, the UK government is acknowledging that Ripple has built a system capable of handling institutional grade financial traffic. So my view is that the market is finally moving past the phase of speculative promises and entering the era of pure infrastructure utility. Now, what does the 12-month wholesale roadmap look like? The document shared by the researcher details an aggressive timeline for UK financial markets. The state's strategy focuses heavily on a 12-month roadmap designed to move beyond isolated sandboxes and bring tokenized repurchase agreements, also known as repos, government guilds, and investment funds into live, everyday deployment. The primary hurdle isn't just the raw code. The report notes that technical improvements alone aren't enough to achieve massive scale. Financial giants face massive barriers, including integration with legal bank structures, managing due diligence costs, and securing access to central bank funds. The UK's approach plans to tackle these issues head on by building a comprehensive network where digital assets and traditional wholesale banking function as one single unit. Now, here's my opinion. A 12-month execution window for tokenized gilts and repo markets tells me that the UK is not playing around. They understand that traditional financial systems are burdened with multi-settlement delays and unnecessary capital lockups. By using a model informed by Ripple's architecture, they are essentially trying to build a frictionless liquidity ecosystem. I believe this aggressive timeline will force major global banking hubs to rapidly accelerate their own integration strategies or risk losing their competitive edge entirely. Now, will a 33 billion pound economic projection wake up global regulators? Right? The economic stakes tied to this digital asset strategy are absolutely massive. According to data highlighted by researcher Bank XRP, the successful deployment of this tokenization blueprint could inject an estimated 33 billion pounds in annual GDP growth into the UK economy. On top of that, it is projected to generate 14 billion pounds in yearly tax revenue for the state. The researcher pointed out that this rapid progress puts the United Kingdom significantly ahead of the United States, where critical digital asset legislation like the Clarity Act has faced friction and delays. To prevent choking early innovation, the report recommends that regulatory frameworks remain entirely proportionate to risk, rather than slapping heavy legislative institutional compliance rules into early-stage DLT deployments. Now, here's my opinion. Let's look at the raw numbers. 33 billion pounds in annual GDP growth and 14 billion pounds in tax revenue is a massive economic incentive that no government can afford to ignore. So in my view, the UK is deliberately exploiting the regulatory gridlock happening in Washington. While US agencies spend years tied up in courtroom battles and legislative debates, the UK is actively positioning itself as the global capital for tokenized assets. Money always flows toward regulatory certainty and modern infrastructure. Now, how is the global crypto community reacting to this direction? Unsurprisingly, the disclosure sparked a flurry of discussions across the wider financial and digital asset community. Many participants expressed deep frustration with the current state of international policy. For example, a well-known community commentator named Andreis remarked that ongoing regulatory delays in the United States are actively creating an open window for other countries to leap ahead in blockchain adoption. He openly criticized lawmakers for failing to advance clear asset legislation, arguing that these prolonged delays only serve to protect entrenched legacy financial institutions while ultimately slowing down critical infrastructure innovation. And now, here's my opinion. I completely agree with the community's general frustration here. The sentiment shared by observers like Andreis highlights a growing reality in global finance. Innovation doesn't pause just because one region is stuck in gridlock. By dragging its feet, the US is essentially giving a massive head start to international hubs like London. If the major financial players realize they can execute tokenized transactions faster and cheaper across the Atlantic, we will witness a massive migration of institutional capital. And finally, here's our overall conclusion. When you look at the macro picture, The UK Treasury's special mention of Ripple marks a major turning point in the evolution of digital finance. By framing their wholesale tokenization roadmap around proven real-world models like Santander UK and Ripple's $1.25 billion hidden road infrastructure, the UK government is signaling that the era of minor blockchain experiments is officially over. The projections are massive, pointing toward an incredible £33 billion boost to annual GDP. While certain major economies remain bogged down in legal debates, the UK is moving rapidly to deploy live tokenized financial instruments within a 12-month window. For any serious observer of these markets, the takeaway is clear. The global financial landscape is actively transforming, and the infrastructure layer being laid down right now will likely dictate the next century of institutional value movement. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one, or you might just as well check this next recommended video right here.